Hello, welcome to another Q&A live on White Davy Gardening and Worm Farm. So for today, we are going to be discussing whatever you, the audience, want to discuss, as long as it's related to gardening. So how have your days been going? Are you having a good winter? Although officially it's not winter yet. So far, it's not bad for me. I'm inside most of the time, so it's not too bad. It's only bad when I have to go outdoors. So, are you guys finished preparing your garden yet for the winter? Or is it that you are able to grow right throughout the growing season? I know for most region we might be able to grow, or you might be able to grow some things for throughout the winter, like cool weather crop. So, how is it going for you? Are you able to grow right throughout the season? Or do you have to stop growing anything at all throughout the entire winter? For me, there isn't anything that I can grow in the winter. My cool weather crop would freeze. Oh, hi, Cece. How are you? If I had cool weather crop, they would have been frozen at least a month ago. So I can't really grow anything outdoors, that is. Indoors is fine. But then, how much can you grow indoors? What are you up to, Cece? Yeah, today we're just going to talk about whatever you guys want to talk about. I know most of the time I have a lot of information prepared, but then that doesn't really give you guys the opportunity to say what's on your mind. So today, I'm giving you that guys that opportunity. Let's see. Cece says she's doing well. I'm doing well too. Yes, I'm doing okay. What's the nothing for Cece? You have to forgive me. My brain is foggy. It comes with old age. I'm getting older. Yeah, so are you answering the question regarding if you're growing anything outdoors over the winter, Cece? Yeah, so I want to start my what's that thing called? My Scotch bonnet peppers. I want to start some from seeds. The two that I brought inside the house, the one died and the other seemed to be dying. Oh, hi, her healthy home. How are you? Yes, one of the Scotch bonnet that I brought inside died, and the other one seemed to be dying. Funny enough, though, those I had them were on the windowsill, and they seem to be dying. And I have a chili pepper that is not on my windowsill. In fact, it is not anywhere where it is in the direct light from the window. And yet still that one is growing and the ones I had on the window is dying. So I don't know what's the story with that, but anyway, with that in mind, I'm going to have to start some Scotch bonnet peppers because I don't think I'll be able to harvest any if I don't start them by December. Because I did that last year and I still wasn't able to harvest a lot, but I had a lot of pest issues, so that could have been the reason. So I'm gonna try to get an earlier start this year. Oh, you're saying you're not doing anything. Okay, okay. Oh yes, I forgot to ask you what you were up to. Like I said, you have to see with me, my brain is getting foggier as I get older. So do you guys have anything that you're growing outdoors now? Or are you finished tidying up your garden and not growing anything else? Yes. Do you have anything? Do you have plants that you're growing indoors too? I'm not going to be doing an indoor garden this year, apart from trying to get my Scotch bonnet started, and then I'm going to continue with the few plants that I'm overwintering. But outside of that, I won't be doing an indoor garden. It's a lot of work and a lot of space that is required to do the indoor garden. So I don't think I'm going to be doing one this year. Let's see. Okay, you're taking a break until the spring. Yes, a lot of gardeners use this time to rest because gardening is a lot of work, really. It's fun and it is relaxing, but it still is a lot of work, especially when you have a lot of other things that you need to take care of. So I know a lot of gardeners take a break at this time. So that's good. When it's close to spring, you can start with all your planning and everything all over again. Oh, hi, growing my own. How are you doing? What about you, Melanie? Do you have anything that you are growing outdoors now? Oh, hi, Han White. How are you? Okay, you're doing great. That's good. Yeah, so today's discussion, as I mentioned earlier, is for you guys to talk about whatever gardening issues you want to talk about because most of the time I'm the one doing all the talking. So you don't get to share your issues or ask questions or things like that. So that's what today's discussion is for. Let's see. And White says she's not growing anything outside, it's too cold. Okay. Mhm. Okay, you're doing good on White. Let's see, growing my own self, still have cauliflower outdoors. Nice, nice. So what temperature is it like there in Toronto, Melanie? It's starting to get pretty cold. Well, we had a nice weekend. For Canadian, it's a nice weekend. For me, it's not. It's still too cold. But we had like 2 degrees, 3 degrees, than they're about for the weekend. So for most Canadians, they were like, "Oh, what are you going to be doing for the weekend? It's nice and warm outside." I'm like, "No, it's not." Yeah, so it has been pretty warm, but it is starting to get cold again. Yeah, so indoors is where I'm staying for as long as it's possible. So have you guys started planning your garden for next season, for next growing season yet, or are you going to wait until much later to do that? I'm kind of preoccupied at the moment. I really want to get started because I still haven't finished sorting out my seeds yet. And if I don't have my seeds sorted out, then I can't start planning my garden. But I have been so preoccupied with a lot of things that I haven't gotten that done yet. Hopefully, as time goes by, I will get it done because I really want to have at least the seeds organized and I know what I need by the end of December. Question: have you guys ever bought seeds during winter, like online or otherwise? Because I want to get some seeds that I don't have, but then I'm afraid to buy seeds because not every seed can survive freezing, and I don't know if I buy them online if they will if they will be frozen. So I'm kind of timid to buy seeds at this point in time. Have you guys ever buy seeds at this time and find that they don't germinate the following year, or will it be okay to do so? Oh yes, our healthy home. I remember you asking me to show how I save my mint seeds. Um, Unfortunately, I did not save the mint seeds. I did save, what is that called? Lemon balm seeds, but I wasn't able to save the mint seed because by the time I got to harvesting them, it was a little bit too late, and I think most of them had fallen off the mint already. So I didn't get to save them, so I didn't have that video to show how I saved them. But I have a video that I'm going to be doing about how I save the lemon balm seeds and a few other seeds that I will be editing and upload pretty soon. I keep dragging my feet with that because I did the video already, but time, because it's a long one and I don't really want it to be too long, and the time it's gonna take to edit it, I'm just dragging my feet where that is concerned. Okay, so everyone is quiet. So are you guys saving seeds from your garden this year? Or will you be purchasing seeds from garden center, or will you be using store-bought seeds? I'm going to be doing all of the above. I save whatever seeds I can, and I'm currently trying to see if I can get some red onion to regrow so that it can produce some seeds for me. But unfortunately, I don't know if any one of you have ever regrown onions, but I've made several attempts so far and failed bitterly at that. But I keep trying because it would be nice if I can get them to regrow and produce seeds for me. Yes, and what else am I trying to get to trying to regrow? I'm trying to regrow my Chinese cabbage that I was trying to grow to get the seeds that failed as well. Unfortunately, as soon as I brought it indoors, it started dying. I don't know if conditions weren't right in the house for it to regrow. But anyway, I'll have to keep trying, especially with the red onions, because I'd really like to get those. I bought the Pakistan onions last year, the seeds, and I was so disappointed because the few of them germinated and then they just died. And I don't know what I'm doing wrong because based on my research, I'm doing all that they say I'm supposed to do, but then they all died. So I'm hoping, and then it's only a few seeds that come in the sachet. So I'm hoping that at least if I can get these onions to regrow, I can get a lot of seeds. That way, even if some of them die, I can keep trying again and again. But we'll see how that goes. Let's see. And says, I've sorted out my seeds and now preparing my garden beds. Nice. Adding food scraps to them. Okay, cool. Speaking of which, this is the first time we've had winter and I'm not putting any food scraps in my compost bins outdoors. I don't think, because I'm not really producing a lot and I have more worms than I did last year. So I don't have enough where I can give to my worms and add to my compost at the same time. And I still haven't gone to the restaurant to start collecting food scraps yet. So I'm way behind with that. I'm so behind with so many things. It's not even funny. And it's not that I'm dragging my leg, but it's just that there's just so much to do. It's kind of hard to keep up. But that's good that you're getting your garden prep for next year. Let's see. Growing my own says I bought all my seeds online last year and the year before, and they were okay. And that was in the winter that you bought them, Melanie? That's what I'm doing too. I'm right. Putting all my kitchen scraps in the garden. Okay, good. Yes, when I used to put my kitchen scraps in the garden, it worked pretty well. My plants were quite happy, but then now I don't have enough to share with my garden or my compost or my worms. So Naturally, worms get preference since as their output provide more benefits than just putting it straight in the garden. Let's see. And says, I have Regrow red and white onions. You have? You're gonna have to tell me how you did that because I keep trying and they're just not growing. I've tried different ways of doing it. I know that onions they tend to rot easily, which is one of the biggest problem that I am having. So what I did is just to I've tried regrowing them in water and they've rooted, but then they just eventually die. And I've tried rooting them in water and then transplanting them to the soil and they still died. I've tried rooting them in the soil by itself and they still died. So now I'm trying to root them in water again and then see if I can transplant them to the soil. But I'm trying not to bury more than just the root portion of it, just the base of it, because then I know how easily it is for the onion to rot. But yes, you're gonna have to share with me how you regrow yours. And the reason I'm trying to regrow my onions is because they are biennial, which means that it is every 2 years that they produce seeds. And the fact that they have been harvested already means that if I plant them now, I should be able to have seeds by the next growing season comes around. Okay, growing my own. You say you have some green onions growing indoors now. Okay, okay, in the winter. Okay, good. Yes, I have. I don't have any green onions growing indoors because I have scallions growing indoors. Yes, I have two containers of those that I brought in from my garden. So I have those growing indoors. The green onions, I'm trying to grow less of them than I did last year and this year because I would like to have more of the scallion than the green onions because I find that the scallion has far more flavor than the green onion. So for that reason, I'm trying to cut back on the amount of green onions that I'm growing and then grow more of the scallion. Oh, and White says, that's great, growing my own. Okay, so now that I know you've safely purchased seeds in the winter and they are okay, then I guess it would be okay for me to go ahead and purchase my seeds. That's good to know. Thanks. Let's see. And says the white ones grow easier. Okay. Yeah. I've never really grown the red onions. I've never really been successful with growing onions at all. Even when I attempt to grow them outdoors, they've always just come smaller than they should be, like a lot smaller than they should be. So this year was the first time I attempted to grow them from seeds, which was a failure. The other times I'd buy the bulb and grow them from the bulb, but my harvest pretty much was the same as when I just planted the bulbs, just a little bit bigger than that. So it seemed to be a waste of time, but failure is not an option, so I can't give up. But definitely, I want to be growing my own onions. We'll see what happens this year or next year with that. And says, I grow them in the soil. Okay, so you grow them in the soil, but how much of them? Do you bury the entire onion in the soil and let it grow? Or do you cut the onions and then let it regrow? Because I know that when you cut onions, the root portion of it, it tends to want to regrow. But then whenever I plant that, it doesn't grow. And if I plant the whole onions, it doesn't grow. Let's see. Our Healthy Home says, multitasking tonight. My daughter stops whenever you say Melanie. Oh, yes, because that's her name. Yes, it's just like my son. There is a brother in our kingdom hall whose name is Tony, and then we call our son Tony. So whenever we're on Zoom and anyone asks Tony a question, my son would answer, and everyone would have a good laugh because he thinks they're asking him the question, and the question is way above his ears, but he's answering as if it is his question. Let's see. Melanie says, last year I had a lot of onions growing in the kitchen. Oh, yeah. And I planted them in the spring outside, and each of them gave me 3 or 4 onions. Oh, nice. Yes, I don't know. I don't know. I'm not having any success with my onions at all. I think I might have to look into what I'm doing wrong because onions regrow quite easily. I mean, it's always sprouting if you have them long enough in your kitchen. So I don't know what it is that I'm doing that they're not growing, but obviously I must be doing something wrong. So maybe one of you guys who are pro at it can share just how you go about planting it. Do you plant just the base where the root is? Do you bury just the base of the onion in the ground, or do you bury the entire onion in the ground or part of it in the ground? And what condition do you allow the soil to be? Do you try to keep it more on the drier side or on the damper side? Or do you just water it like you'd water any regular plant? For those that I try to regrow in the water, one of the thing is sometimes it is my fault because if it is in water, then chances are it's going to rot. So I try to have just enough water to cover the root. And then when I do that, a lot of time, because it's only a small amount of water, when I do that, it tends to dry out. So sometimes that is my fault. But even when I keep enough moisture in there, it still doesn't go too far. It grows to a point and then for some reason it just dies. Let's see. Anne says, no, I only bury about 3/4, almost all of it. Well, okay. Well, I'm gonna try that. I'm going to, in fact, I think after the live, if I remember, maybe I should jot it down, please. My brain is not so good. Okay, yes, so maybe after the live, before I go to work, I'll just try to plant my red and my yellow onions and see what happens. So, have you ever allowed your onion to grow to the point where it produce seeds? Those regrown onions? Yeah, so it would be interesting. I'm going to be trying that and see what happens. It will be, hopefully, this time it will work. I'll just keep trying. I have the entire winter to play around with it. So I'll just keep trying. Hopefully, I'll have success sooner rather than later. Because the sooner I get success, then the more likely it is that I'm going to have seeds by the growing season starts. But I think we have quite a long way to go before the growing season gets here because our growing season doesn't start until the end of not March, May, round about there. So I have a little bit of time to play around. Let's see, growing my own says the onion I started indoors this year all died. Then I started them outdoors in the spring and they did well. Okay, well, that's good. I did outdoors and indoors and nothing seemed to work. The ones outdoors, they grow. The plant does not get big, which I expect it to do. But the plants, even when you follow the instruction that comes on the package, whether I'm growing from seed or from bulb, following the instruction that on the package, I still don't have any success with it. So I don't know. And I've tried indoors and I've tried outdoors with both the seeds and the bulb. And for so far, nothing. They grow outdoors, they grow better than they do indoors. But then the plant doesn't grow large like I see anyone around me who is growing onion, their plants usually grow to a nice size and look healthy. My plants usually are just very tiny, maybe quarter inch thick, and that's it. And they don't grow to more than maybe 8 inches tall, and then nothing underneath. So I don't know what it is that I'm doing. I might have to look into the soil type because I've never really taken that into consideration when I'm planting onions. So maybe I need to look into that. Maybe that is where the problem is. But no, not necessarily, because I mean, when I grow it in water, I still have the same problem. But hopefully, we'll see. I won't give up. Yes, maybe if I try again this year, through the course of this year, and it doesn't work, then I will just give up. But for now, I'm gonna keep trying. So, what will you guys be working on when you're not able to plant anything outdoors? Are you going to be doing any of your garden planning over the winter? Let's see. Even the cabbage, I restarted outdoors, and that was a success too. Okay, Miss Green Thumb. um, this year I attempted to regrow cabbage and broccoli. The broccoli didn't do well. It rooted, and although it rooted, it never produced any seedlings or suckers. The cabbage, however, produced suckers, but then pests got the best of it. And then we had this weather was not really ideal for my cabbage, so they didn't grow as large as I would expect them to. And even the cabbage that I bought at the store this year, my red cabbage, they didn't fold. They didn't grow large enough to fold, which was a big disappointment because I was looking forward to it. But the weather was just not ideal. It was just either too hot or too dry, whatever the case may be. But they didn't do so well. They did produce, though, even the regrow ones, they did produce, but they didn't grow as big and healthy as I hoped they would. But you know me already, I'm going to be trying again with the cabbage too. And for the broccolis, definitely I'm going to keep on trying because I've seen videos where others regrow the broccoli and it did very, very well. So I don't know what it is with me. And the funny thing is, when I'm in Jamaica and I'm regrowing my vegetables, they regrow quite easily. I don't have a problem with them. But here, for some reason, they just don't want to regrow. So I don't know if it has anything to do with the environment because it regrow for me in Jamaica, even without me trying to regrow. If I harvest and I don't take the root out, a lot of these plants, the cabbage, broccolis, and stuff like that, they will just regrow on their own. But then here, when I attempt to regrow, nothing seemed to work. Let's see. Okay, you want to try the red cabbage next year? Yes. Um, this year is the first time that I'm ever growing the red cabbage. They grow pretty nice and reasonable size, but then, like I said, because the weather was so dry and hot, so they didn't do as well as they should. And then the pests did make a run at them. So, but we'll see because next year I'm going to be trying with them again. And then I'm going to be growing a different variety of cabbage next year too. But the thing is, I don't know what type of cabbage, I don't know the name of it, but we bought it at the store. So I'm attempting to see if I can get it to regrow now. I don't know if you guys are familiar with it, but the leaves are similar to what we have in Jamaica. It's a thin leaf, so it doesn't have those thick vein. And then it is not a round cabbage. It is more of a flat type of cabbage. So it the cabbage head is flat. Yes, so I'm going to attempt to regrow that. So I just started the experiment yesterday to see if I can actually get it to regrow. Because if so, then maybe I can get the seeds from it, because I don't see those seeds at the garden center here. Because I think those cabbage are from Asia, because you can only get those cabbage to buy at the Asian store, but they taste close to the ones that we grow in Jamaica. So for that reason, I'm trying to see if I can regrow it. It will be fun to see what happens. And again, like with the other stuff, I have a lot of time to play around. So we'll see what happens. And even if I don't get seeds this year from it, if I can get it to regrow, then that would be good, because then I could still be harvesting cabbage. I can just take off all of those seedlings and grow them as individual cabbages. So it will be interesting to see what happens with that. I'm just praying that it grows. So you guys are finished cleaning up your garden and everything like that now? How is the snow for you, Melanie? You started getting snow yet? Yeah, we got snow. We got snow, what, twice or three times? But the first time it was just a small amount and it didn't stay. The second time it's here to stay, but it's not too bad. I think it's the first in a long time that we've come this far in the year and we only have a small amount of snow on the ground, which I'm very thankful for. Yeah, so it's not too bad. Not looking forward to the rest of the year though, because I know that when it starts, if we have a nice warm temperature during the first part of the winter, then when it reached the end or closer to the end of the winter, it seemed as if all of what we didn't get at the start of the winter, we just get all of it close to the end. So I'm not really looking forward to that. But for now, I'm enjoying the fact that we're not getting a lot of snow. Okay, you got it, but it's not heavy. Okay, that's good. So, Anne, were you able to get that purple okra seed that you wanted? Yeah, still, when I look online for okra seeds, I don't really see in my region, that is. So like for the garden centers in my region, when I look online, I don't see them with any of the purple seed, and they only have maybe two or three different varieties of okras. I don't know what's the differences, because the three of them look the same to me. But yes, they don't really have a lot of varieties of okras, but I guess maybe because okras prefer the warmer climate, so they only have a few varieties that can grow here. But I'm still looking around just in case I come across any. Let's see. They told us that it would snow at the weekend, but that didn't happen. So are you sad that it didn't snow, or are you happy that it didn't? I would be ecstatic if it doesn't snow. I feel sorry for those guys whose work in the winter depend on them having snow to shovel, and for those farmers who, because in Saskatchewan the farming does not do well if they don't get a lot of snow, unfortunately. I don't know what it is, what is the relationship between the snow and the farm, but for whatever reason, farming doesn't seem to do well in Saskatchewan if we don't get a lot of snow. So I feel sorry for them when there isn't a lot of snow, but for myself, I'm quite happy. Yeah, I wish there was a way to just let it snow over the farm areas and nowhere else, just where it's wanted. Okay, you haven't gotten those seeds yet. I think I'm going to widen my search to see if I can find them anywhere else, because I don't think I'm going to be able to find them in any of our local garden centers. Let's see. You said you won't be going anywhere for the weekend, so you don't mind. Okay. Oh, I think I missed a comment. Okay. Yes. Well, as long as I don't have to go outside, then I don't mind if the snow. But then, unfortunately, the thing I hate about the snow, it's not that I hate snow. What I hate is the cold and the ice that forms when we get snow, because it gets so icy so fast, and then it is so slippery and dangerous. I'm just always afraid that I'm going to fall on it when it gets icy. And then it is so slippery when you drive. It is just absolutely terrible. Yeah, but it's not that I really hate snow. I would actually love to play in the snow. If outside wasn't so frigidly cold, then I would play in the snow a lot. But because the snow represents cold, then Melanie, do you grow callaloo? And what type of callaloo, if you do, what type of callaloo do you get to grow there? Do you have access to the red ones? I'd like to get my hands on some of those red amaranth seeds, but callaloo seeds on a whole, I cannot get it in this region. Yes, but I'd like to get my hands on the red ones, but I don't really know where to source them from. So there are quite a few different type of seeds that I'm trying to get my hands on, but finding where to get them from is where the challenge comes in. Okay, you like to be inside watching the snow from the window. There's two things that I appreciate about the snow. Well, I don't I like the frost that forms on the window, and then you see the many different patterns that the frost will cause on the windows. So I like to see those. And then the governments here plant the trees along the roadside on both sides of the road, these large trees, and then they form a canopy over the road. And then when those trees get frosty and you see those little white frost all over the trees and the trees doesn't have any leaf, it is a really, really, really beautiful sight. But outside of that, there is nothing that I like about the winter, but that is really a beautiful sight. My kids get excited when they see the snow. And my daughter, she's always praying, "Oh, when is it going to snow? When is it going to snow?" I'm like, "Girl, be quiet. Don't call the snow just yet." Yeah. But anyway, yes, I have quite a few seeds. I'm still working out the list of things, of seeds that I want to get. But there's not a lot of things that can grow in my region. That is the unfortunate thing, because from from what I was told, in Saskatchewan, originally there would be things like berries and shrubs that grow here. Trees didn't grow here naturally, and so the trees had to be adapted for them to grow here, and a lot of the things that they grow here had to be adapted for them to grow here. So even now there are many things that we cannot grow in this region because it is just too cold for them to grow here, which is unfortunate. And I think that is why it is so difficult to get a lot of the seeds that I would like to grow. And then because I'm from the tropics, I'm used to a lot of different vegetables that they might not be used to in this far region. I know that for places like Toronto and so are used to a lot of these tropical things, but then this far region, it's a lot of things are not readily available. A lot of things they're not familiar with, so you don't get seeds that you want readily, unfortunately. Hopefully, with time, that will change. Let's see. Grandma Own says, I know it looks like a postcard. Yes, that's exactly what it looks like. It is a beautiful sight. And it is interesting to know that no two snowflakes are the same in shape. I didn't know that. I thought there would be a lot of similarities, but they said no two snowflakes are exactly alike. But when they form frost on the window, it's just beautiful to look at the various shape. It looks as if you're looking a lot. Have you ever light the starlight or the firecracker and you see all of those little flares that comes off it? That's how it looks sometimes when it is on the window. It's quite beautiful. Oh, your overwintered peppers are doing well. That's excellent. Yes, it's only my chili. What chili is that? I think that's my balm chili. Yes, it's only my balm chili that is doing well, the Scotch bonnet. They're letting me down bitterly. Yes, I was really looking forward to overwintering them. But then and again, with the fungus gnat issue that they had and their growth was stunted, maybe it's best that I just restart them anyway. That is why I'm not too disappointed because they weren't 100% healthy anyway. So, but we'll see. I'm going to be starting my Scotch bonnet in another few weeks and see what happens with it. I'm just hoping that this time around I'll be able to have a really nice harvest. I was looking forward to such a good harvest. When I started the seeds, I think that was the last week in December last year, and saw them growing. They took a little while, but then after they got their true leaf, they just started doing so well. Oh, hi, Nikki. They started doing so well. And then when spring came and they started flowering in the spring, I was so ecstatic because I thought, oh, yes, I'm going to have a lot of Scotch bonnet this year. Oh my goodness, was I ever disappointed? I think I harvested four Scotch bonnet and I have five Scotch bonnet plants. So that's, and I think four of them came from one plant and the other four plants did not even produce anything. That was such a disappointment because I thought, oh, for sure, five Scotch bonnet plant, I'm gonna have enough to last me until the next growing season. But oh well, you win some, you lose some. Although that's almost as if I've lost everything. Yes, but anyway, I'll try again next year and see what happens with those Scotch bonnets. And my okras. This year, I think it's the best I've ever had where okras are concerned because they, over the previous years when I tried to grow them, they never really grow past maybe 7 to 9 inches tall and they'll never flower, let alone produce fruit. This year, the two of my plants grow really well, but then the growing season ended before they got to produce much. I think I harvest just two okras from them. So, but at least the plant grew and they flower. So I can say that that is progress compared to last year when I attempted to grow it. So if I try again this year, maybe I will have a really good success. Let's see. Okay, they're saying hi to each other. Okay, growing my own says her Scotch bonnet let her down too. Okay, then I can't feel too bad then because you are in a much warmer region than me and your growing season is longer than mine. So I guess I can't feel too bad. Let's see. Nikki said she grew okra for the first time this year. So how was your okra? Were you able to have a nice harvest from it? Yes, well, I would complain that I didn't get a nice harvest, but compared to the other 2 years when I tried to grow them and how poorly they did, I can't really complain about how they did this year because they flowered and they produced two okras. So I think next year will be a lot better because every year that I try, I see progress the following year. So I think I'm at the point now where if I go again next year, it should be pretty good. Hopefully the weather will be nice enough. So I think I'm gonna try starting a few indoors too early and see what happens with them. Yeah. Let's see. Nikki says, I tried overwintering pepper directly in the ground last year, but they did not come back. This time I potted them up and put them inside my pop-up greenhouse. Fingers crossed. Okay. Okay, so where you are, it's warm enough where you can grow them in your greenhouse outdoors. That's nice. I hope they do well this time around. Let's see. By the time the okra plants were really going, the season ended. I was able to harvest a few. Okay. Yeah, so maybe you're gonna have to start them a little bit earlier, maybe start them indoors if the growing season is not long enough for you to be able to harvest from them. The thing I like about the okra plants is that it's not like the tomatoes. Well, the indeterminate tomatoes are okay because they keep producing continuously, while the determinate ones, they just produce everything at once, and then you just get one or two large harvests. But the indeterminate continue to produce, and that is what I like about the okra because they continue to produce right throughout the growing season once they get started. So that is one of the reasons why I think I'm going to be starting it indoors and then give it enough time where it will start to producing as early as possible. So I might have to get a large container to grow it indoors because then I don't have to be doing a lot of transplanting because I don't want to do anything that is going to be stunting the growth and limiting the possibility of it producing or starting to produce early. Yeah, but I think that is the issue I had with mine as well. The growing season ended before I was actually able to harvest enough because when the growing season ended, the plants were full of blossoms, but the season just wasn't long enough. Let's see. Green My Home says, I can't wait to plant okras next year. Me too. I can't wait for the growing season to start again. This time of year is always a very sad one for me because I can't plant anything. Yes, it's actually a sad time of year. I comfort myself by planning ahead and trying to do all that I can now. Yes, so I can tell myself that I'm still doing some form of gardening, but yes, it's a pretty sad time when I'm not able to grow. So I'm literally counting down the number of months that I have to wait for the growing season to start. Yeah, I'm literally counting it down. Okay, let's see here. Sorry about that. Just responding to a very important message at the moment. Okay. Yes. Let's see. Nikki says, I have a fall garden, but everything grows at such a slower rate when it's colder outdoors. Okay. And growing my own says, me too. Yes. When the time is cold, things do take longer to grow, unfortunately. Oh, I know you grow. Says cheers everyone, just passing by to show some growers love. Well, that's very kind of you, my dear. Yes, I'm literally counting down the months. Oh, how many months are left before the growing season start? Because I can't wait to get out there and get things started. But we'll see. Take it a day at a time and just do whatever I can. Keep my mind preoccupied. Try to catch up on all those things because if I am to be honest, when the growing season is in effect, everything else get left behind. I'm just like, most of the time, if I find myself with 1 minute on my hand, you know that I'm going to be in the garden for just that 1 minute. Even if it's just to walk out there, look at the garden and turn back inside. As long as I find myself with time on my hands, I'm out there in the garden. So for now, I'm just trying to keep myself preoccupied. All of those things that got neglected because of the garden, I'm trying to get those done now. And next year, hopefully, because I get those things done, I won't have to spend the growing season indoors taking care of too many indoors things. Let's see. Noah Grow says, LOL, we can't wait. We too can't wait. Okay. Do you grow microgreens? Oh, Jesus, don't even mention that. That is such a disappointment for me. I attempted to grow microgreens, well, not last year, but the year before. I attempted to grow microgreens and they did not work out. I think I tried about 3 times and they didn't work out. I don't know what it is that I was doing wrong, but they didn't work out. But I'm going to try again. I wanted to last this growing season, but didn't get around to it, but I'm gonna keep on trying. I'm gonna try again and see what happens. Because it seems as if it is pretty easy to grow, but anything that I try to grow in the during the growing season, and if it is not a part of the regular garden or close to my regular garden, then sometimes they can get neglected. And I think I've been guilty of doing that with some of the microgreens that I attempted to grow. Yes, I'm gonna have to do better where that is concerned. What about you? Do you grow microgreens? Let's see, growing my own says, I'm doing a lot of planning in my head. Just keep thinking about what I'm going to do. Okay, yes, for now, my planning is all in my head too. I haven't gotten around to putting them on paper yet. And I like playing around with them in my head for a while because sometimes you make changes, and as you make changes, you don't want to be jotting down every 5 seconds and going back and changing. Yeah, so when I come up with a definite plan as to what I want to do, then I will jot it down. What I try to do though is just to take brief notes, like an outline of what I'd like to do, like to get done. But for now, most of my planning is being done in my head. Hopefully, by the end of December, I will have a fairly good idea of what I want to get done, and then I can start designing my garden. Let's see. Okay, I'm saying hi. Okay, so it's easy to grow, but I need good seeds. Yes, well, In my region, I cannot count on that because I don't know when I'm getting good seeds or bad seeds, because it seems as if the regions are the garden centers that I'm using, their seeds don't come with dates on them as to when they expire or anything like that. So I don't really know whether or not I'm getting good seeds or bad seeds, unfortunately. Yeah, I can't tell whether or not I'm getting good or bad seeds. I just have to take whatever I get. Let's see. So, No You Grow says, try covering them and keep the grow area warm where they will grow. Okay, I will try that for next time. Yes, but it would be interesting. There are so many different microgreens that I would like to grow. So when you grow microgreens, you can't do cut and come again with them, can you? Or does it depend on what stage they're at when you use them as microgreens? Johnny's seeds. Where is that? Is that in the States or is it in Canada? Johnny's seeds. Okay, you can do cut and come again. Okay. Nice, even better. Just let them grow a little bit bigger. Yeah. Okay. So this Johnny's seeds, do they ship to Canada? Do you know if they ship to Canada? And then one of the things that I have to consider too when it comes to buying seeds, especially if I'm buying seeds from overseas, and even sometimes if I'm buying seeds in Canada, I still have to be careful because Saskatchewan temperature is different from most regions. Saskatchewan is so very cold, so a lot of the seeds that can grow somewhere else might not necessarily be able to grow here. So that's something that I have to keep in mind when I'm purchasing seeds, because the seeds that grow here, they have been altered to ensure that they can grow here, unfortunately. Let's see. Okay, so they do ship to Canada. And you're saying I can buy from Baker's Creek Seeds and Mons. Is that Mons or Mona? I'm off blind. Well, Mons, I think. Mons Seeds for Canada. Okay, okay. All right. Yeah, so I'll check those out and see if they have the seeds that I would like to get. Oh, mom's seeds. Okay. Yes, I'm definitely going to check those out because I still have quite a few seeds that I'd like to get my hands on. Okay, you'll send me some links. Thanks for that. Yeah, definitely appreciate it. Yeah, so I'm gonna have to say goodbye to you guys shortly because I have to get my little skinny behind to work. I didn't even realize the time was going so much. But let me know what you're looking for. Okay. Okay, I'll let you know. Thanks. Take care, everyone. Okay, Nikki, you take care too. Hope you have a wonderful rest of your week. And all of you too. Hope you enjoy the rest of your week. And please do your best to stay safe. And all being well, I'll see you guys on Friday. And take care and have a good night or a good morning, depending on where you are.